Hello, so the story we'll be reading today is Hansel and Gretel. Now, because of limited time, we'll be splitting the story into two parts, so this is part 1. Hansel and Gretel lived with their parents in a tiny cottage at the edge of the forest. Their father was a simple woodcutter, and although he worked hard, the family was very poor. Many times, Hansel and Gretel had nothing but a crust of bread for their supper. At night, after Hansel and Gretel were in bed, their parents would talk in worried voices. Even though they whispered, Hansel and Gretel could hear what they said.
"What is to become of us?"
asked Father one night.
"Soon we will not even have enough money for even flour."
"We will manage," Mother said.
"I must go into the forest to find work," Father sighed. "Otherwise, we will surely starve."
Mother gasped.
"There must be some other way," she replied anxiously.
Then she calmed herself.
"We will find one. Now let's get some rest."
"Hansel, we can't let Father go," whispered Gretel to her brother from her bed.
"What can we do?"
"I will travel into the forest instead," replied Hansel.
"Then I will come with you," said Gretel bravely.
"The forest is very dangerous. You may need my help."
"Very well. We will leave tonight."
Before daylight, Hansel and Gretel crept out of their beds and pulled on their clothes. Gretel collected some bread from the kitchen and stuffed it into her pockets.
"I suppose it's not such a bad idea for you to come along," Hansel told Gretel as they took a last look at their house and began walking into the dark forest. The children walked silently. They walked all day long through the tangled bushes. Through the tangled bushes and tall trees. They walked until their feet hurt and their legs felt heavy and tired.
"I did not realize that the forest was so big," Gretel said.
"Neither did I," said Hansel. "But don't worry, I have made sure that we will not get lost. I left a trail of breadcrumbs behind us in case we need to turn back."
"You're very clever, Hansel,"
Gretel laughed. "Why do you laugh?" Hansel said. "I have sacrificed my bread to help us."
"Look,"
Gretel said, pointing behind them. 3 blackbirds hopped along, carefully eating each breadcrumb Hansel had dropped. The trail Hansel had left for them had vanished completely.
Hansel, here, eat some,"
Gretel said, trying to comfort her brother. She held out a piece of bread to him. "I am not hungry anymore," Hansel said. By now, the children were very tired. They continued to walk through the forest. Surely they would come across some place that they could rest, or someone who could give them something small to eat. They were certainly lost now, and felt as though they were walking in circles. Night fell upon the forest, and strange noises came from behind the trees. Ooh! Hansel and Gretel sat down and huddled against the cold. "Did you hear that?" asked Hansel, reaching out for Gretel's hand.
"It's only an owl,"
Gretel whispered. "We should try to sleep now." Soon the children were asleep, dreaming of a warm supper. In the morning, they continued to walk. At first, to make the time pass, they sang songs that their parents had taught them. Soon they grew tired and hungry again, and they walked along in silence. After a while, the children entered a small clearing. They could not believe their eyes. "Gretel, look!" Hansel shouted. "A cottage!"
"Maybe whoever lives there will give us something to eat,"
Gretel said eagerly. As the children hurried closer, they saw it was no ordinary cottage. Its walls were made of gingerbread, and the windows were made of clear sugar.
"Oh, it is the most beautiful house I have ever seen," said Gretel.
"It is the most delicious house I have ever seen," said Hansel, and he began to eat the bread. He began to break off some of the frosting to eat.
"Wait!"
Gretel cried. "We should see if anyone is home and ask before we eat." "You know who else is going to eat?"
Me right now because I'm hungry, so that's why I'm ending this video right now. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed this story so far. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. It's also pretty classic. Alright, bye-bye. Dun 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 dun.